If you are watching this video, that means that you are probably considering being off social media. You're probably a person that's been hearing about the negative effects of being on social media, and you're probably like, does it help reduce my anxiety? Is it going to be, something that's going to be helping me become more productive? And is it something I want to try? And this is pretty much a video that I'm going to try to share my experience being 6 months away from social media, and then seeing kind of how I've learned and what I've done and how it's affected me. And maybe it could help you in some way, shape, or form as well. What is going on, YouTube? My name is Rossmann. You are watching Trust Films. So to give context of what I'm talking about, the pandemic has been going on since around March. And that's pretty much been the time that I've been away from social media. And the reason that I went off it in the first place was because of my anxiety. And I was just being completely triggered by certain people and a business that just really didn't sit well with me. And I'm not going to go into full detail about it. So I just decided we're going to be off it because number one, I noticed I was being more clear-minded. Number two, I was being more focused on what I was doing. And number three, it just was causing me not any anxiety being off it. So basically, that's how it started. Now, why did I continue being away from social media? I'm aware that I have extremely high ambitions and goals in life, and in order to match those high ambitions, I need to work my butt off, and I really need to work and produce as much as I possibly can to get me to that point of being where I want to be. So basically, since around this time beginning of social media, I started putting all my attention and time into YouTube. Since this time of being off social media, I've been producing 3 videos a week on my YouTube channel, and my growth has been pretty awesome for me. I'm a small YouTuber, but it's been really exciting and just really exhilarating to seeing the growth already on this channel because of how much work I put into it. It probably could have been possible if I was on social media. However, for me particularly, I was always distracted all the time from notifications and the thoughts of like, oh, I need to see what other people are doing. Oh, I need to check in with somebody. Oh, I just want to see, I have 5 minutes. Oh, I'm in the bathroom. Oh, I just want to check. And that for me, just getting away from that allowed me to not even think about it. I went through my day without even thinking about Instagram, Snapchat, Facebook, anything like that. And so for me particularly, that was a big deal that I didn't even realize because I just wasn't even thinking about it anymore. My productivity was increasing exponentially during this time, and I was allowing less distractions in my life. But Tyler, wasn't that more isolating? Didn't you feel more alone because you don't know what other people are doing? You can't communicate with people in social media. And the big thing for me is this. By being away from social media, I did something I previously have done, which is just basically start calling people more and FaceTiming people more. And that's pretty much how I spent my time. Did I feel very alone? Yes, because I think this pandemic has made a lot of us feel more isolated and alone and just kind of more retracted from things. However, I've just been trying to spend more time calling and FaceTiming friends and family, people that I love and care deeply about, as much as I possibly can. Talking to people on the phone is something that is not normally done a whole lot, I feel, anymore, but for me particularly, it's something I really love and value. And the reason is because I am more deep-centered. I am a deep conversationalist. I do not like surface level conversations at all. I'm the guy that's the 90% of the iceberg, way deep. I want to get into what's real, what's going on, how you're really feeling, and things like that. Social media is pretty much all surface level. If you have a communication with somebody, if you're commenting on a post, if you're like messaging somebody, it's usually not that deep. It's usually just surface level. It's like, hey, this is a great post. Oh, I love the colors. Oh, so beautiful. Oh, this is amazing. And that's really all it is. It's just random little comments like that. The things that I care about are like, what do you want to achieve in your life? What are your goals? What are your hopes? What are things that you love to do? What are things that make you feel like you're living? I love having those kinds of conversations with someone. So for me particularly, being away from social media had zero impact on that because I basically was just doing that even more with people that I was talking to. Now, the one thing that I will say that I do miss about being away from social media is I missed like updates on what other people are doing. There's some people that I'm friends with, but there are those people that I have zero idea what they're up to because I don't know what they're doing because I'm not seeing any posts from them and things like that. So I have to get all my information from talking to someone on the phone or from texting, but again, mostly from the phone. Now, for me in particular, that's kind of a pro and a con because of the things I just said, but also just because there is something that is fun just about keeping up with somebody and just kind of checking in and seeing how they're doing. Like, even though I may not talk to you every day or even every month or even every 2 or 3 months, it's still really fun for me to see what you're doing because I have a lot of people in my life that I care deeply about, and it's fun to just check in and we keep tabs on each other and be like, hey, you're doing this awesome thing. Oh, that's so cool. Like, I'm gonna like your post because I want you to know that I'm like still thinking of you and still like keeping track of what you're doing. Even though we may not be talking, we're kind of getting into our own lives and doing our own thing. I still want to keep tabs on people. And so that's one thing that I can say that I do miss. The other thing for that is communicating and networking. I do have 2 accounts for my Instagram. One is my personal page, which I just post fun things that I really love and enjoy. The other is my Tross Films, the LLC business of me, where I really post photos and videos of me working on my business or videos that I produced for payment, things like that, that I want to showcase to other potential people. Now, that's one thing that I do want to talk about is networking. And that's another reason why I want to reach out to potential businesses that I want to work with or potential people that might need a videographer. And I've gotten gigs in the past from Instagram, and that's something that I haven't been able to have. That's another thing that I kind of miss about being on Instagram for a business aspect is I really love networking and being able to like keep connections with people that I may want to work with and may want to produce content for. Those might be the potatoes, but the meat of what I want to really kind of get at in the rest of the video that I want to talk about is going to be about self-awareness and knowing yourself. For me particularly, I am very self-aware. I'm at a point where I'm very comfortable with who I am, and I feel I love myself and accept myself for who I am wholeheartedly. I do not care if somebody writes a crappy thing on my post or if somebody gives me a hate comment, which I have had a couple, not gonna lie. But I also, on the contrary, don't need others' approval for the number of likes. My self-esteem is not gonna be tied up by if I get 100 likes or 10 likes. Regardless of that, I'm producing content for the sake of producing content and being a content creator, and that's what I try to hold myself by. If you don't know yourself, if you are lacking self-esteem or self-worth, it's going to be really hard because a lot of people in today's age get their validation from the number of likes or comments a post gets. They want people saying, "You're beautiful, OMG, love it, OMG, you're amazing." And for me in particular, those are things that I don't need in my life. The reason I'm saying this is because I want you to look at your own life. If you take a photo of something or yourself doing something, are you doing it because you genuinely like it and you want to remember that and share it with other people? Or are you doing it for the sake of getting likes and comments? If you're doing it for the sake of getting likes and comments, you usually are going to have lower self-esteem, and that may hurt you by saying that, but that's kind of the reality that a lot of people I don't think realize because they don't take the time to really know themselves and understand who they are. When I'm away from social media, my validation comes from me alone, and maybe I rely on the people that I'm talking to, to give me advice, to give me opinions, to give me thoughts and ideas of their own. However, I am me, and I don't need anybody else's validation. I don't need anybody's like or comment to make me feel better about myself, because this is something that I've learned. Now, granted, I've struggled with in this past. I used to do that a crap ton, like seriously. But getting away from social media has allowed me to do that and really rethink about who I am, what I value, and if I care about other people's thoughts and opinions. Because if you care too much about other people's thoughts and opinions, I feel social media is going to just control your life, and you're going to be completely addicted, and you're going to need that dopamine rush of getting a like, getting a comment, getting a notification. And for me in particular, I don't want to be a slave to social media, and that's something I don't want to be a slave to. I want to validate myself, and if a post gets a lot of likes because it's cool, then that's dope. But I'm not going to be like, oh, I didn't get enough likes as I thought I was going to do, I'm going to take this post down. For me, that's just, it's a waste of time, because the things that I think about are, what can I create? I don't want to be continually consuming other people's views on myself. I want to be focused on how can I produce something? What next thing can I do for me? How can I continually grow? How can I continually develop? How can I continue to push myself and grow as a human being on this earth? Because we only get one life, and that's something I've been thinking a lot more about, is we are going to all die at one point. My social media accounts are going to outlive myself, and that's a weird thing to think about. Every single YouTube video that you've seen on my channel will be there for my grandchildren, great-grandchildren, great-great-great-grandchildren, and until the earth like caves or the internet is like dead. But that's something that's kind of crazy to think about. So I'm starting to think about like how I want to be remembered, and social media for me is a way of remembering the moments in my life that are special to me, the moments in my life that are meaningful to me. And that's how I want to use social media. For me in particular, I'm going to be going back on social media, but I'm going to be doing it in a way that is for me and not for other people. I want to share videos that I create and produce, because that's a way of how I'm making a living. I want to share things that I'm doing with my family or my friends, because those are the things that I care about. I want to share things that I find are interesting or I find really unique, because for me, I can look back on this when I'm 60 years old. I can look back on this when I'm hopefully 80 years old. and I can share this moments and these things with my kids or my grandkids or et cetera, and be like, yo, this is me when I was 26. This is me when I was 30, you know, things like that. And that's how I'm viewing it. So I'm definitely going to ease back into social media. So if I can sum up anything in one last little bit, it's basically try to know yourself. If you're thinking about going off social media, then go off of it. If you're watching this video and you're honestly contemplating yourself, do it, because you're probably going to observe new things in your life that you may think and may want. But again, stay connected with those friends and family that you care about. Just do it in a different way. Write letters. You know, send photos in an envelope. Do something unique. I was gonna say send them a pigeon with like a little note, but I don't think you should do that. I don't even know where people would get a bird to do that. But anyways, you know what I mean. Like, be creative. Talk to people on the phone and FaceTime them. And I know it's kind of crazy because the pandemic is still going on, but when you're more present, you enjoy it more. And when you're not distracted continually by all the notifications that you're getting, and when you're actually like really true to yourself, and you know that at the end of the day you are the only person you need validation from, that's a very powerful thing. And that's pretty much the biggest takeaway that I can leave you with. As always, my name is Tyler Rossmann. Thank you so very much for taking the time out of your day to watch. It really does mean a lot, and I'll catch you on my next adventure. Peace out from the red chair. Woo-chow!